Okay, good evening, everybody, and a very warm welcome to all of you that are joining us on this information session on banking and investments. I trust that you will find this session insightful and an open invitation. If you've got any questions, there's going to be quite a bit of time at the end of our presentation to engage with the panel, to ask questions, anything that you find that you would like to know. You're also welcome to switch on your microphone to ask, or you're welcome to type in the chat, and we will take it. So I will be the chair for this evening. I'm Jürgen, the head of department for investments. Then our panel members is Tracy Wilcox. She's a lecturer in banking, and she will be taking you through the advanced and the higher and advanced certificates in banking, and also our undergraduate qualifications on the Bachelor of Commerce and Bachelor of Business Administration. Then we've got Stanton Lesh. He's a senior lecturer in banking, and he will be discussing the postgraduate diploma in banking. And then lastly, we've got Corbin Niemann. He is a lecturer in investment management, and he will be discussing the postgraduate diploma in investment management. And so I will be handing over to Tracy to take us through the certificates in banking.
Good evening, everybody. I hope you're all well. As Jürgen said, my name is Tracy. I am the lecturer in sales and service for the Department of Banking. And so I spend a lot of time with the higher certificate and advanced certificate students. And I love my job. So I'm really lucky that I get to present on this. Okay, so I'm going to kick us off. Well, before I even start, let me just remind you that all of our qualifications are phase qualifications. So in other words, if you need to be certified as a phase representative, then our qualifications are perfect for you, depending obviously on which product you are a representative for. But there we go. So you're on your way. All right. So I'm going to kick off with the higher certificate in banking services, which is our entry-level NQF5 qualification. As I said, it's an entry-level higher education qualification. So that means it's similar to a standard university like the University of Cape Town, University of Johannesburg. Our qualifications work the same way. Okay, it's designed to equip students with the knowledge and skills required to operate successfully in a specific entry position within a bank or any organization that promotes banking services. So that can include things like furniture stores, the credit department of that. It can include microfinance, any kind of institution that does some form of banking services. Okay, so who should be looking at this program? Well, if you're just leaving school or you're writing matric this year and you want to enter a junior position in the bank, this is a great qualification for you. Any person who has achieved another qualification in an applied area, practice or non-vocational area who seeks more banking services orientated qualification. So we find with a lot of people working in the bank that they have qualifications in other areas and now they need a more specific banking qualification. This is your ground level start. Perfect. An employed person wishing to enhance, develop, or formalize his skills and knowledge within a qualification in this area. Again, people have been maybe working in the bank for quite a while and just don't have that piece of paper. This is the way to do it. All righty. So if you do this qualification, what roles will this allow you to get into? A junior sales or service consultant, definitely need a phase qualification, ground level, here we start. A teller, or any form of administrator or operations assistant, because you can look at the more operational side of banking. And a call center consultant, which is obviously one of the roles that is growing in leaps and bounds within the banking services industry. Okay, so with this program, you need to do 3 compulsory modules. That would be regulation and compliance in the banking industry, fundamentals of retail banking and customer service and communication, when you'll be doing it with me, so you know it's going to be fun. Then as your electives, depending on which kind of role that you would like to go into, you can focus a little bit more on, say, sales, economics, introduction to business management, personal and small business credit, principles of accounting, and fraud detection. So you need to choose then 3 electives. So you do 6 modules altogether. I'm going to move quickly onto the Advanced Certificate in Banking Services, which is our next step up, NQF 6 qualification. This is the second level or higher education qualification designed to equip students with the knowledge and skills to operate professionally in a junior position in an organization that promotes banking services. Okay. This is suitable for anyone who's completed the higher certificate in banking services or an equivalent and wants to take their foundational banking knowledge a step higher. Okay. An employed person wishing to enhance, develop, or formalize their skills and knowledge with a qualification in banking services. Again, somebody might have had a higher certificate for quite a while and has moved up the corporate ladder and is now doing a more advanced banking services and just needs to get that formal qualification behind their name. So the personal roles, this would be your personal bankers, a junior credit analyst or loan officer, team leader or junior manager, a financial advisor, or the branch manager of a small branch. All of these would be covered by the Advanced Certificate in Banking Services. Similarly to the higher certificate, you also have 3 compulsory modules that you have to complete, which is risk management in banking, banking and business law, bank management, and then you have a choice of 3 electives including HR, sales management, banking without boundaries, which looks at the future of banking, financial crime, fraud examination, business credit, applied financial accounting, finance for managers, and compliance techniques and strategies. So you can see that you can definitely go more into the operational or credit side or into the sales and HR side. There's a lot, and you choose again 3 electives, again 6 modules altogether. All righty. Just a whistle-stop tour of the NQF 7 level qualifications that are offered. So we have both the Bachelor of Business Administration and a Bachelor of Commerce. The Bachelor of Business Administration has a major in banking, and then we have a Bachelor of Commerce with majors in either credit or banking or investment in banking or investment management. For more details on this, we recommend that you look for the recording from our School of Commerce, which will give you a lot more information about these programs. Okay, I am going to hand over to Stanton Lesh, who's going to take you forward on to the postgraduate diploma in banking.
You are on mute.
Thank you, Tracy. Thank you for a very informative presentation on our NQF 5, 6, and 7 qualifications. I'm glad that you mentioned that it is a FICE accredited, because I want to use an analogy. The NQF 5, 6, and 7 qualification, for me, if I use an analogy, it gives you a foot in the door and it gives you a seat at the table. But if you want to sit at the head of the table, then you'll have to do a postgraduate qualification, either in banking or in investments. And that's why we're speaking to you guys today. So let me just start with my slides. So as you can see, all our qualifications are accredited. The SACWA accreditation there, the number, South African Qualifications Authority ID, 93608 is the postgraduate diploma in banking, which I'm responsible for. Then let's think about why banking. Firstly, the banking sector in South Africa employs more than 200,000 people. So it is a significant employer and a significant contributor to the economy. Then when we look at the global banking sector, we can see that it's changing at a tremendous pace. and that is expected to continue. Traditionally, when we look at our banks, everybody will know Absa, FNB, Standard Bank, Nedbank, and then Capitec, which only started at the beginning of this century. But there also, because the industry is so dynamic, new banks have come to the fore. Banks like Time Digital, Bank Zero, Discovery Bank, and soon we'll also have Old Mutual Bank. So you can see the industry is definitely subjected to unprecedented change, and that's why there's opportunities created for other players. As financial institutions are transforming in line with the change, the competencies of the staff also need to change. So in the past, your hard skills that a banker needed to have were your credit skills, your financial analysis skills, and your sales skills. But today, with the use of technology, and please people, don't see technology as a threat, see it as an opportunity. With the use of technology now, we have to ensure that at the Milpark, we speak about students must be human-centered, because banking will always be a human-centered business based on trust. So you have to be human-centered, but you also need to be digitally fluid. So you need to be able to transverse the journey, where in the past it was branch-based banking. Today, we have mostly app banking. So you do a lot of your banking on your app. So you need to be au fait with the technology, and you need to be able to move with the times. The type of skills that we will teach you at the postgraduate level is skills like critical thinking, skills like, obviously the analytical skills will remain, system thinking skills, looking at more at the big picture and seeing how your division and your bank fits into your industry and into the economy. We'll also teach you to be creative. We'll teach you to problem solve. And one of the key ways that we teach you to problem solve is actually when we introduce you to case studies, and these case studies are often based on real world banking problems and banking challenges. So when we analyze that and we recommend solutions, that's the way that you are obviously learning to problem solve. And in most instances, the lessons learned there, you can implement in your workplace. So that's some of the skills. And also you need to be able to use artificial intelligence and machine learning. And as I mentioned, don't see it as a threat. Because remember, in the past, when you needed to do a financial needs analysis of a client, it used to take you hours. And if it was a business, it used to take you days to work through those financial statements. Now, with the use of artificial intelligence and machine learning, you can do that analysis in minutes, hours. So, which means you can solution the client quicker. And more importantly, you can now see more clients. You can also see clients remotely, whereas in the past, you physically had to drive to a client and you could then only maybe see 3 clients a day. Now with technology, you can see 6, 7 clients a day. And that obviously has a good effect on the bottom line of your bank. When we look at the program purpose, so what is the purpose? Firstly, we want to ensure that you have both the management skills and specialist skills to flourish in banking or in financial services. We also want to ensure that you have an advanced understanding and a strategic understanding of banking, not just an entry-level understanding. You have an advanced understanding, because that will obviously allow you to move up the corporate ladder a little bit quicker, and to ensure that your organization is actually prepared for volatility, for uncertainty, for complexity, and for ambiguity. So on this postgraduate diploma in banking, we will deal with a lot of current and future banking related issues, and so that to ensure that you are on par with what's happening in the world. And one of the things at Milpark, which we always say, we want you to dare to dream more than you can imagine. So when we're looking at these qualifications, please people, don't just think South Africa. These qualifications can make you globally competitive and globally relevant. So think a little bigger, especially when you have a partner like Milpark. When we look at the program structure, I'm not going to go into detail of each of the subjects. If you need to have more detail, you can visit our website, and on our fact sheets, they'll give you detail on each subject. But in short, if you look at this slide, you need to do 7 compulsory modules and 1 elective. At the moment, we only have the elective financial services technology, but as we review qualifications on an annual basis, we will add more. But the 7 core modules will remain. And in total, you will need 125 credits to graduate from this postgraduate diploma. in banking. Then if we look at our timetable, so on the postgraduate diploma, we work in blocks, we work in 4 blocks for the year. And I've just indicated that the more or less the dates in terms of months. Also, importantly, you need to note that in each block, there's typically 2 modules that you do. So if you take 2 times 4, you get to 8, and that's your 7 compulsory and your elective included. And for us, we would suggest as full-time students, as full-time employed people, we would suggest that you do this qualification over 2 years. But we have had the odd student that does it over 1 year, but that will be very hectic to manage a full-time job, being a part-time student, and being a husband, wife, aunt, uncle, whatever the case may be. It will be quite tough. So we suggest doing it over 2 years and getting the qualification as soon as possible. That's it from my side. My apologies, Corbin, I went over to your slide. We will answer questions at the end.
You are on mute, Corbin.
Good evening, everyone. Yeah, so we get the best for last, the postgraduate diploma in investment management. So what stands out with this program is the fact that we draw heavily on the CFA program candidate body of knowledge. When we review the qualification, we ensure that it aligns with the CFA candidate body of knowledge, and it aligns with the curriculum. We also have 2 CFA charter holders that teach on this qualification, which allows the qualification to keep up with the industry, because there's a lot of information that we can get from the CFA Institute that allows us to keep up to date with the investment industry. So what's great about this qualification is you will be exposed to the various disciplines in the investment management industry. So remember, the investment management industry is very big. So we will take you through different disciplines, equities, fixed income, alternative investments, derivatives, all of that, so that you can get an understanding of those different disciplines, and that you can try and figure out where you would want to position yourself after you get a qualification like the PGDIP in investment management. Okay, so the program is suitable for anyone who wants to gain deeper knowledge of financial instruments and financial markets. Let's say you maybe want to start managing your own money. This is a great course for pursuing that. It's also great for individuals who have a bachelor's degree and want to pursue a professional designation, such as the CFA charter holder designation. This sets you up for those exams. Specifically, a lot of the content that we cover in the course is structured towards the CFA Level 2 exam. And then also for those professionals who want to enhance or upskill to ensure that they stay ahead of the curve when it comes to the investment management industry. So what are the types of roles that you can apply for when you complete this qualification? So again, the investment management industry is a broad industry. These are just some of the roles you can apply for. Remember, within each of these roles, there are branches. So you can be an equity research analyst, you can be an alternative investment research analyst, you can be an equity portfolio manager, alternative investments, fixed income portfolio managers. There's many branches, but this qualification sets you up to not only apply for these different jobs, but also to know where your level of expertise are specifically, or where you want to focus on after completing this qualification. Then when we look at how the qualification is structured, so I just want to make a mention. So this is the current structure of the qualification. However, it is being reviewed. Okay, so it's being reviewed because we are streamlining the qualification. We are splitting some of these modules so that we can provide you with a more in-depth look at the different disciplines within the investment management industry. Okay, so this is how it currently looks. This is what you can expect if you enroll in the next couple of cycles. However, this is how the new program will look from next year. So as you can see, we've split the modules, which means we're going into more depth into each module. And we've also added wealth management and portfolio management to ensure that everyone stays up to date, or students stays up to date with the investment management industry. Okay, that is me. Thank you very much.
Thank you to the panel, to Tracy and Stanton and Corbin for very insightful information. I would now like to open it up to the audience. Are there any questions that you would like to ask any of us? Okay, I'll take, this is Rowena Isaacs.
Hi, yes, it's Rowena. So my question is, let me just paint a quick picture. So I did my NQF5 and then my NQF6 with you guys. And then with my NQF5, I did it through the banking program. And so with every module, a lecturer would come and spend 2 days with us and just go through the book, right? And I found that great because like I would have a better understanding walking out of there. It was good. And then when I did my NQF6, the advanced certificate, I must say I struggled a bit because I didn't have that same support. And I know there was like times that we could book out with the lecturer and stuff, but I feel like it wasn't sufficient. So my question is then, would there be, because I'm obviously now looking to do my NQF7, would there be that kind of support structure like I did with my NQF5 when I did my NQF5? Would there be something like that in place again? Or I just found it very hard to do the second time around without that support.
Okay, I can maybe answer the first part. So I'm assuming with the first part that was a corporate program, so there would be on-site facilitation or online facilitation where lecturers would have been available. And try to correct me if I'm wrong, but for the advanced certificate, that would have been a pure distance learning qualification where there is support, but I think it's to a much lesser extent where it's hand-holding, which I think is what you're alluding to. We do have the support structures where you can book with the lecturer. Our programs do have support recordings that you can make use of. It depends on the level of technicality, how much they would be. For level 7, it would depend on if the module is offered as distance learning or distance learning online. So distance learning online definitely has much more engagement in the lecture. There are more live sessions. There's a discussion forum that is used far more, and we use the announcements forum a lot more. So I think that will maybe help you a bit more. But I think Commerce would be better equipped to explain to you which modules will be running on distance learning online next year. But you're also welcome to get in touch with us offline or afterwards, and we can maybe just look at your unique requirements in that regard. And
Thank you so
Tracy or Stanton, anything that you would like to add?
Yes, I was going to recommend that you would, if you were applying for your NQF7, that you try and do as many modules as distance learning online as possible, because they do give you that extra support. And the interactivity, particularly of the discussion forums. As a student, I found them very helpful, so I'm sure that you would as well. However, I would say it is a little bit more expensive, so just, but yeah, that is a good option.
That was going to be my, yeah, my next question. Thanks, Tracy. I was going to ask, like, what is the difference? Is there, like, obviously you get more support, but is there a difference in pricing as well? But thank you for that.
Okay. Alrighty.
Okay, we have a question from Sean.
Good evening, members of the panel. Thank you for your time this afternoon. I just want to quickly say that I'm actually existing distance learner with Milpark. I've completed my NQF level 7, but prior to that, I have done my HDIP also through Milpark. So I've completed my HDIP in banking, as well as my bachelor's in banking as well, majoring in banking and risk management. I obviously want to further my studies. I see a familiar name around, Amelia Johnson. So I actually reached out to her quite a few times in the whilst sort of completing my bachelor's. So she is familiar with myself. I'd like to know where to from here. You know, after my NQF 7, will I get credits to my new sort of or can I? What I'm really asking is, can I do my postgrad, or can I go straight into sort of an MBA? I think I sort of know the answer to it. I think you need to do a postgrad and then you do MBA, or will I get some of the credits if I do a postgrad now?
Okay, so there are more than one part to that.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
Tracy can answer part of that. You would be able to, as far as I understand, you can go from undergraduate into the MBA. Then you do 2 years. You do the postgrad diploma in business administration, which is the first part. If you decide to do the PGDIP in banking, there is credit that can be passed on if should you go and do the MBA. There are overlap modules there.
Okay. Great, thank you. I'm gonna need to then speak to somebody like offline. Maybe I'll reach out to the guys at Milpark now.
Okay, sure, anytime.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'd suggest, Sean, if you just reach out to Amelia, you've got an existing relationship with her, and then she will be able to guide you. If she doesn't have all the answers, she's got access to all the answers. So I think that would be your best bet.
Perfect. Appreciate it. Thank you very much, Sanjay. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Okay, any other questions from the audience? Okay, we've got Lisa.
Hi guys, sorry I joined late. Most probably I've missed most of the presentation, but I just wanted to double check, is this a diploma or certificate, or are there various options? Because I was considering doing an advanced diploma. I'm not sure if it's part of your offering.
We don't have an advanced diploma, but we do have the 2 certificates. In which field are you interested in doing it?
Well, in investment banking.
In bank, it says investments and banking. It's 2 different qualifications.
Oh, okay. Banking.
So there is it the advanced certificate? That's an NQF level 6.
Oh, okay. So then that won't work for me. All right, cool. I was not sure when I saw the ad on Instagram.
There is also the option of doing a Bachelor's of Commerce or a Bachelor's of Business Administration. Tracy.
I just wanted to ask, Pimeza, what do you currently have?
I did the advanced postgraduate diploma last year at Henley. So I wanted to continue because my aim is just to do MBA eventually. So I wanted to do an NQF 7 qualification.
Okay, because our postgraduates are NQF 8. So if you were looking to do an NQF 7, that would be the BCom or the Bachelor of Business Administration. Both of them have majors in banking. I would suggest that you reach out to our student support, and they will be able to guide you on which modules are transferable and which credits you can get and what you still need to do.
All right, cool. I'll do that. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Pleasure. Is it Jeff da?
Hi, afternoon, guys. So I did my NQF 6 through Millpark, the advanced certificate a couple of years ago, and I'm looking to complete my NQF 7, and it might be off the topic, but I just wanted to find out if one of you could just explain how long that would. Obviously, I'm employed full time. For me to get that qualification, how long would that more or less take me if you consider full-time employment, just as an indication, if I don't have to do too much per year? Thanks.
Tracy, I think you would be best positioned to know what credits can be transferred from our certificate to the Bachelor of Commerce.
I'm not 100% sure, so it depends very much on which ones you did. Yeah, because some of the electives are transferable and some are not. So that is your first challenge. If, for instance, all of yours were transferable, which is unlikely, you would need at least, I would say, another 18 months to do it at a decent pace. If you wanted to break your neck, you could probably do it in a year. If the majority of your credits are not transferable, then it might take you 2.5 years. So it's a bit difficult to say with the.
I would need to.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. I would need to sit with a
yes.
with an advisor or someone to just.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks a lot.
Okay.
Okay. Any more questions from the audience? Okay, let's see. So Stanton, we did briefly discuss, the distance learning approach. Can you maybe just add a bit onto what do we do extra on distance learning online?
Sure. Yes, Jürgen. I think somebody alluded, I think it was Rowena that spoke about the challenges she had with distance learning, and that was overcome with the actual facilitation sessions on those 2 days. Now, distance learning online, the goal behind it is obviously to ensure more engagement between students and between the student and the online lecturer. So there's a number of things that are in place to ensure that there's more interaction. The one, obviously, we've got the learning management system, which we're using, which is called Canvas, where we will put on announcements so students will immediately see what the most up-to-date information is on the course. The assignment guidelines are also shared with students after the assignment. So immediately after the results are released, you will not only have access to the memo for the assignment, but you will also have access to the markers' comments on your assignment. We have sample exams that are available that the students can have a look at to prepare for the final exams. We have the tutor forum where the student can ask any question of the tutor, and that engagement will then take place. We also have what you've mentioned before, Jürgen, the weekly consultations where you can actually book time out with your online lecturer to deal with specific issues. And then we have online live lectures, which obviously, as I said, is live, so you attend it live. But if you can't attend it live, there's also recordings available. So because we understand sometimes you've got work deadlines and things and you can't attend the sessions, then at least you can listen to it on an afterwards basis. Then also in terms of the assessments are also much more interactive because you have participations and discussions where you actually do the peer-to-peer learning, where a question is posed and you have to post an answer to it, or you can respond to another student's answer. So that's where peer-to-peer learning takes place. And in that process as well, the online lecturer is involved to give some guidance and to guide you towards a more accurate answer and not just a generic answer. So that's some of the types of engagements that we have in place to overcome the distance gap of distance learning. So it's much more interactive. And also you will have a weekly schedule. So every week you'll know these are the topics that we will cover. These are the assessments that are linked to those topics, and we'll guide you along in that process. So the levels of engagement are much higher, and the pass rates are, Tracy, I haven't done a study of it, but the pass rates are also usually higher compared to a normal distance learning environment. So when you get lost along the way, you'll know you lost. It's not like with distance learning, you might only find out you lost in week 11 or week 10. Yeah, after week 2, you know you lost. I'm lost, so I can book a session with Stanton, book a session with Corbin. Please guide me so that at least that you can get on track again.
Yeah, just to add that I am currently doing my MBA with Milpark, and I have found that those discussion forums have been actually some of the best learning that we get, because you're getting so many diverse opinions, and everybody's got a slightly different viewpoint on that, and so you're like, oh, hadn't thought of that. So in that way, Rowena, you actually we as students are supporting each other and furthering our learning. So it's a both and. So yeah, that's my 20 cents.
Okay, so we did receive a question. Do we have a postgraduate in investment management? So it's not an honours degree, but as Corbin said there, we do have a postgraduate diploma in investment management. And I'm happy to share more information that we have on this. Oh, the slides will be made available afterwards. So it is aligned with the CFA curriculum as it stands, but in the process of reviewing the entire thing, changing the modules, streamlining it, with the intention of aligning it as much as possible with the level 2 curriculum. We are even using the CFA Institute textbooks that are available for students in our online library, materials geared completely towards that. What we are doing as part of the review program is adding a bit of support from the level 1 curriculum, so that you're not jumping in the middle of investment management. There's a bit of support so that you know exactly where we're coming from. And in the timetable has also been restructured. It now allows you to do it either full-time in 1 year or do it on half load over 2 years, which is much more manageable for a student that does have work commitments. So I just want to quickly see. So we've got a question here. Do you plan to use new technology like blockchain in investments and banking? It's not something that we formally incorporate into the investment management qualification. There are sort of topical chapters there that you can have a look at how it's used, but not something that we would specifically assess. Then I don't know, Stanton, if you do a bit of that in the banking postgrad.
In the financial services technology course, we do mention all the new types of technologies that are available, and we do delve a little bit into it. So yes, we will deal with it, but also not in depth, because it's yeah. So we just deal with it a little bit, go into it just to give students an understanding of what is out there and what the functionality is.
Well, thank you. So we've got a question on information on the postgraduate diploma in risk management. So we investments and banking. The risk and insurance team did an excellent presentation on the postgraduate diploma in risk management. I believe that recording is available. If you can't get hold of it, please get in touch with us. We'll make sure that we get you the link. And if needed, I can put you in touch with one of the program managers there just to give you a bit more information.
I think somebody shared it, yeah, isn't it?
Is that the link, or is that that's the
session?
that's
Oh,
the
that's the
link
actual
on the
The detail.
Fact sheets, that's the
Yeah.
page on the website. But there's also that recording from that session. So we'll try, maybe one of the team in the background can find that link to the recording for us.
And put it in the chat.
Any other questions from the audience? Sid Benton.
Hi, yes. I just have a very quick question with regards to the RPL. Okay. So
Yes.
I have applied for NQF 8 through the RPL a few times now, and obviously it hasn't been successful. So I just need to understand I understand what the criteria is because I have spoken to a consultant and they did say I did qualify. But in the 3 times that I did apply, none of them were successful. So I'm just trying to understand, do they look at obviously whoever qualifies the best? Because I know there's a pool of people that is only accepted. So I just need to understand, do they just take the pool of people who have applied in that particular period? Or do they basically look or is there kind of like a waiting list or something like that?
For which qualification is this?
It is for the PGD NQF 8.
In banking.
In banking, my apologies, in banking.
Yes. Yeah, Stanton would be best equipped to
Okay.
answer that question.
Hi, Natasha. I haven't seen any of your applications, so my comments will obviously just be generic, but I would advise you also just to reach out to Amelia so that we can chat about it. But in short, we are allowed to take 10% of our applications, we are allowed to allocate to RPL, recognition of prior learning. But we get much more than 10% applications. So unfortunately, in most instances, it's like 2 or 3 or 4 a year that we can take. And we might say, for example, get 20 or 30 of those applications. So we then take the 3 or 4 best ones. That doesn't mean that the others that don't qualify for RPL are not good candidates. It's just the 3 or 4 that we took were the best. So it's a difficult decision to make. We look at, obviously, the students' academic qualifications and performance. We look at how long they've been in the industry and what the different roles they were in, and that type of thing. But I suggest just reach out to Amelia. I'm not sure if you have her details, or you can reach out to me. I can even type my details in the chat, and then we can see that I can give you more specific guidance.
Natasha?
That would be great. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Natasha, can I ask
Hi,
what
yes.
qualifications do you currently have, if you're willing to share?
NQF 6.
Okay. Because I can see that you're struggling to get into the PGD, but have you considered looking at the NQF 7 and then at least you're on the way?
I have. It's just, it's been a, to be honest with
A
you,
rough road.
I wanted to fast track. It's the reality. Just the time period for me was just, that's the off-putting part of it. So
Okay.
would I just try my luck and just see? But anyway, I have.
Yeah, I'm just thinking of
so
like 3
long.
applications. That's 3 years. You could have already had the NQF 7. Just
I
knowing.
know.
And that would have been a shortcut, Tracy. If you take 3 years, it would still be a shortcut.
No, but thanks for that. I really appreciate it, guys.
Okay.
Pleasure. Reach out to us. We'll see.
Okay,
Thank you.
Any other questions from the audience? Okay, so I've got one. So if you study and you're working, that's quite a commitment to make, and you have to work, you have to juggle work and your life and family and things. So I don't know. This is open to both you, Corbin, and Tracy. Maybe you first, Tracy. How do you go about doing something like that?
With great difficulty, to be quite honest. It requires a lot of planning. you know, also knowing your strengths and your weaknesses and that kind of stuff. So, for instance, I fall asleep quite quickly if it's too late at night. So it's better for me to sometimes get up early and read the things that I need to do, because then I'm sort of awake. Sometimes it's a bit touch, but I'm also, I've learned, because I am very bad at being lastminute.com, and sometimes that really bites you where it shouldn't. So learning to know how much work is required in each of that, and that sort of comes with a bit of experience. And sometimes, you know, experience is not always great. Just that you try things and then it doesn't work, so you try a different way the next time. Redoing the same thing, which didn't work, is called madness. Okay, so don't do that. Try something different. Yeah, the other thing is, for me, what I found has been really important is my support structure. So my family, my friends, and making sure, look, I'm a raging extrovert, so I need to have people. And so I need to be very conscious that I put that in my timing and my timetabling for myself, is that I need to have time that I'm going to be with my family on these days, or, you know, things like birthdays, all of that. I make sure that those are in, so that I don't go nuts. But you do have to be very selective. You can't go to everything. And so you have to say, okay, this one I can't go to, but these are the things that I will go to. And yeah, it's literally about planning.
Cool. Thank you. Thank you, Tracy. Yes. So we've got a comment here. It's even more challenging when there's a baby in the picture. I can appreciate that. I've had classes where somebody asks a question, you can hear the baby crying in the background. So yes, very true point there. And we do realize that sometimes a lot of sacrifices have to be made to further your education. So Tracy knows what it is to sacrifice working and studying. I've done it. Corbin's done it. Stanton, I'm assuming you have also done that.
A few times, yeah, a few times.
So we all know about that.
I think the best advice that I got actually from a student, but that was obviously too late to me because I did it already, is that he says at work he contracts for everything. So he said with his studies, he contracted his wife, he contracted his kids to say, listen, these are some of the chores that I need to do, but because of my studies, I won't be able to get into it. So who's willing to assist? And then sometimes with the contracting, you know, there's a fee attached, so you have to do some creative accounting just to get the balance the books again, because wife wants something, kids want something, and like Tracy said, your support system. Without a good support system, you're not going to make it. And then you have to be disciplined, and discipline has to be a habit, because every day you need to put in some time, even if it's just 2 hours. Don't skip, even if it's just a little bit of reading. And you might think after doing the reading it didn't help, but I assure you it does, because it just keeps you going, keeps the momentum going. So those are two things: discipline daily, and then contract. Get your support system to take up some of your slack, so that you can focus.
Yeah, and remember, Corbin also studied with a baby.
Yeah. Yeah. So I understand what you're saying. Yeah, at the end of the day, it's a lot of sacrifice, a lot of no's. But I think the best advice I got just before starting my studies is to have a strategy and to stick to that strategy. It's like having a plan. If you study, like Tracy said, like Stanton said, make sure you have a plan, stick to the plan. And just remember, when motivation goes out the door, it's discipline that's left. Okay, and then that's where the plan comes in, and that's where the discipline comes in. It is hard. It's not, nothing is easy, but at the end of the day, it is worth it. And just remembering that, and then appreciating your family, appreciating your friends for the support they give you during the difficult study time. Yeah, yeah, it is really a challenge, but yeah, you also learn what you're made of at the end of the day. I think all of us who've worked and studied, and who's working and studying, you realize your resilience and what you can do at the end of the day, and that's great. That's a great personal growth story at the end of the day as well. Yeah, so good luck to all of you who are going to study and working and have a family. Good luck, but also know that we know what you are going through.
Thank you for that, sharing those experiences. Any questions from the audience? Okay, so we do still have time. So Corbin, the next question is directed at you. How would you say the postgraduate diploma in investment management compares to a typical honors degree at a public university?
Yeah, so thanks for that question, Jurgen. So first of all, when we started with the qualification review process for the postgraduate diploma in investment management for next year, one of the first things we did was we had a look at what our competitors were doing, and our competitors being the public universities with their honors programs. And we looked at where we were lacking compared to them, and we also looked at where our strengths are. And I do think, and I know this may sound biased, but I do think that what we are putting on the table for next year is on par with what you get at your public universities. Remember that they also have a research, and Jurgen, you can help me here if I'm saying the wrong things, but they usually also have a research component where we focus more on the practical side of things. So we don't necessarily have the research component. But the rest is, in my opinion, it's on par, and it's on par because we didn't just follow status quo and do and copy from the previous years and whatever. We actually did our research, and we tried to implement what is happening in the industry. We tried to incorporate it into next year's postgraduate diploma in investment management. So my short answer is yes, I do think it's on par with the public universities.
Yeah, maybe to add to that, we do follow an internationally recognized curriculum, being the CFA Institute or the CFA program curriculum, benchmarking that against level 2, even going into level 3. So and touching on level 1 work, because our entry requirement isn't that you need to have a Bachelor's of Commerce majoring in investment management. We can take you with any other suitable qualification, and we've built in that required bit to just bridge you into the more advanced content. And then portfolio management goes into level 3, and then we would be one of the very few institutions that does have a wealth management module on there, where we try and pull together everything that you've learned. How do we use equities when you're sitting with a client? How do you use bonds? Where does that fit in? And even if you're not going to advise a client, it still puts into perspective where you're going to be using it. And we're going to be doing very practical things. What are the investment products out there that you can use? So if you're going to go into a traditional investment management role, you're going to be a research analyst, and that's going to be pulled into a investment product like a unit trust, so that you at least know how those unit trust products work. That was one of the big shortcomings for me coming from university, is you've learned all this theory and maybe you've done a bit of practical application, but what is the end result of this? Where is this being used? Which I think is the slight difference in what we are doing here. And as Corbin said, we don't have that research component. So if you're doing an honors at a traditional institution, a traditional public university, you're required to do a quarter of that qualification, or 30 credits of the 120 credits, has to be a research assignment. And we don't have that restriction, so we can use that to add to the content that we're covering. That's why we do have the capacity to bring a bit more introductory level material in there to open up for students that didn't do investment management undergraduate. Okay, any questions from the audience? I've got time for one more question.
Take your chances, people. This is the last one.
It's now or never. I'll have to wait until our next webinar. And I'm sure Handy will be very keen on scheduling another one. Okay, Tracy, I'm going to direct my very last question at you. So we do have the corporate or the running timetables for some of our programs. Can you maybe just explain how that works versus our traditional distance learning timetable?
Okay. So traditionally, we used to have what we call semester-based modules. So in other words, you would do 2 or 3 modules together at the same time over a period, say, from February to May, or July to November, October, November. But you did them simultaneously. So with the rolling timetable, you literally do 1 module at a time, but you do it between 6 to 8 weeks. So they're both distance learning in the public space, but our higher certificate and our advanced certificate, most of the modules are actually run on this rolling timetable. So there are quite a few that are not available in the semester-based things, particularly the compulsory modules. So it depends. We find a lot of our students like the rolling timetable because you're only focusing on that 1 module at a time. However, it is a shorter space of time. And with the semester-based ones, you are doing a number together, but at the same time, things are scheduled at a slightly different time. So it depends very much on you. If you are a person who struggles a little bit with, say, time management and planning your life, then maybe the rolling timetable is a little bit better for you, because you've got things that you've got to do each week virtually. Whereas with the semester-based modules, if you're good at time management and you also need a little bit more flexibility, then that is the one for you. But just remember that not all modules on the higher certificate and the advanced certificate are on the semester-based platform at all. Quite a few of them are only rolling timetable. So, yeah. But again, it's about knowing yourself as a student. So it's a great way for you to try them both out if you can, if you've got the option. That's another way of doing it. So yeah. Does anyone else? I'm going to ask some of my colleagues. Almarie, do you want to add any more about the rolling timetable?
Good evening, everybody. No, Tracy, I think you've covered everything on there. Yes, the one is a far more structured approach, and the other one, students are able to actually pace themselves through the semester.
Yeah. I see there's also a good question in the chat where Leratori said, how many years to complete qualification? Sometimes life happens and you have to put a hold on your studies. So generally, for the higher certificate, the maximum time that you have is 5 years. For the advanced certificate, the maximum time is 3 years. And for the bachelor's degrees, then you have up to 9 years. So you just have a little bit of a variety depending on what happens. Yes, life happens. And sometimes, sadly, you're also not 100% successful the first time around. So maybe you also have to have a do-over. So you do have flexibility in the programs so that you will be able to finish. We also very, very, very intentional. Amelia is one of the program managers. She will verify this about contacting you and making sure that you get there. So if we see that you're falling a bit off the wagon, we will contact you and send you letters and encourage you about which was your next module that you should be doing so that you can complete the program. Yeah. Okay. I think that's me done.
Okay. Thank you. Very, very last question before we wrap up. Okay, that brings us to the end of this evening's information session, and thank you to everybody for taking the time to join us and to participate. If there are any more questions, please do get in touch with us. I would assume there's an inquiry was a support desk that you can get hold of us or send your query. Somebody from our support team would get in touch with you, or they would direct you to us, and then we would be able to give you more information on that. So with that, you should all please have a very good evening and all the best for the rest of the week.
Good evening.
Good evening.